Hello, Georgia 551. It has been brought to my attention that the one Sears I thought would pretty much survive is closing. This is Solomon Pond Mall, Marlborough, Mass, or Berlin, depending on who you talk to, but popular concession is Marlborough. Anyway, yeah, it's raining a bit, so we're going to go around, see what it is, and hopefully the same people that have told me about this store closing will tell me when the final day is, and I'll try to get there on the second to last day because it's pretty much identical to the last, except very minor differences. Plus, the very last day, they could just shut it down and arrive too late. So without further ado, let's see how this Sears is faring. So we're heading into the Sears, as you can see here, stopping for a moment because somebody was right behind us. And of course, we're wearing a hidden camera, of course. And everything looks a little foggy right now, but in a moment, I'm gonna step off to the side, clean it up, and put it back into position. So, as you can see, it's a little sparse, but not too bad. There, now it's been cleaned off. First thing to note while I can is I forgot to set the date. It's still set on the Christmas Eve walkthrough of Whitney Field, hence why it says Christmas Eve 2020. And you can see items are getting a bit sparse. And second of all is once I set the hidden camera, I have to leave it alone. So yes, it develops a list to the left. A somewhat hard one this time because, like I said, once you set it, gotta leave it alone. So here we are in Young Men's, and as you can see, I mean, slowly it's starting to fade, but over here, which it looks like more like Young Girls, perhaps. Like I say, in those areas, I try not to hang around too much. It was a little more sparse, but not much. And of course, I'm trying to not get right in people's faces as well. So like I said, gotta set it, forget it, and yeah, the cockeyed list over there, well, gonna have to deal with that. So here we are in, I believe, the Young Miss department, and yeah, it's starting to thin out too, passing the mall entrance on the first floor. Now, the one thing I found interesting about this location is when I entered the door, apparently in the Sears Auto Center, they're using that as a COVID-19 testing facility, which I found rather strange. But, hey, wherever you can, you can. And sometimes the camera seems to actually straighten out and then it lists again to the left. Sometimes it, it just happens. Anyway, they got a section almost blocked off here at the ladies' purses here. Can kinda look over. However, it is accessible, and we are going to head in that direction. And we got not much to look at here. It's just doubling back and heading over to behind the wall that we just found. And there's the escalator down. Now, when we enter, to the left is ladies' underwear, so we, out of respect, don't really spend too much time looking at that because we're more interested in seeing all the fixtures so far that they have available here on the right. And like I said, this has started, so there isn't too much to grab right now. We got some tables here. Of course, your traditional, shirt stands there. And we have these special Sears shelves over here for $70 a pop. And then we just have general fixturing on the wall as we look over there. And here we are, the wall general fixturing. So, while we head back and look at some more shelving, I like to say that, just to let you know, this is B-roll material on this channel. This is not my main thing, hence why the quality isn't as good as like Wally B or Ace's Adventures, Sal's Adventures. If you want the really high quality stuff, go to their channel. They do a much better job because they actually make a livelihood doing this, whereas this is just stuff I do on the side. Anyway, going by the jewelry department, there's not really anything unusual there. I mean, a few empty voids, but other than that, it's not really all that empty just quite yet. It was surprisingly crowded, so picking a route to travel was a little challenging. Still got a lot of men's winter coats there, and some longer sleeve shirts. Again, trying to avoid the crowds and getting people's faces directly. Now, one thing that is noticeable, and we're working our way there, is towards the men's jeans. The cubby holes they're showing the signs of inventory clearance. The shelves still had plenty, and some of the less popular sizes and styles still had a decent amount. And of course, because of the virus, the fitting rooms are closed. Also, I don't want to forget, I mentioned the A-list guys for this stuff. I forgot to mention Retail Archaeology. How could I forget them? Again, if you want to see the high quality stuff on stuff like this. So now we're just making a run to the second floor and the escalator. Here we come to the second floor, and you might have noticed, like I said, walking a bit faster towards the escalators because, as you can see, the shutter speed on the camera is not the best. So I walk slower than normal so that the picture quality, for the most part, is relatively clear. And then when I was heading towards the escalator, I was walking at normal pace. So of course the camera also jingles around a little more too. So now we're getting into where it starts to get a little more depressing, especially the craftsman area and a little bit in the housewares department as well. And funny thing is, we actually passed what used to be the electronics department, and long gone now, as it was right at the top of the escalators on the right at one point. So we're going to take a look at the craftsman tools section, which in every dying Sears looks pretty bad, and this is no exception. Although they squished everything onto a shelf or two, and then here it looks a lot more filled than what it really is. It's like one or two of each item that was on the shelves. Look at that empty space, and it's just nothing but a few large tool utility chests. Again, we're looking at bare shelving, some more cabinets. There is just almost nothing here in the craftsman department because, well, that is one of the more popular parts of Sears, Roebuck and Company. We're also going to see some interesting things as we move along. Of course, here's the bedding department, and it's pretty bad in this section, but not as bad as in others, but this is the worst when it comes to the Kenmore appliances so far. This area is pretty much emptied out. The rest, there's still a bit of stock left. Then again, walking along that way to show you the bedding. And yeah, they move the stove over. They moved them over to the more towards the front and center. And we got the refrigerators there. And over here, unlike the mall at Whitney Field, they blocked off a section of the store they don't want people in anymore. Just peek in, there's not really much there, just a few shelves, a small corner that's been blocked off. Getting out of Refrigeratorville, you can see the linens and bedding department, not much really there. And then you notice a big black void. There's a significantly large section of the store that's been blocked off and power shut off. This is what's left of the portrait studio area. And nothing really to see there. Although the elevator is back there, so they can't really close off this section. And the death note of a Sears there, storing some area rugs. So, you know what we're going to see in the near future. As I stammer my way through things here, looking through the crack to show you, or try to show you, how much of the second floor has been blocked off. Very difficult to do, and here we go. Your typical store closing death note right here. The area and floor rugs. This seems to be a common thing, as you've seen in the Sears Whitney Field closing, the Macy's at Whitney Field closing as well. But it wasn't at the Kmart in Fitchburg. Tons of area rugs. Then we're getting into children's clothing, which we don't spend all that much time in. Here's one gap where we can kind of get an idea of how much they have blocked off. So we're just going by that department. We're not even going to bother. It just seems a bit wrong to go wandering through there, especially with families walking around. Just did not feel comfortable doing that. Again, you want to see people walking through that? Go see the big guys. The area rugs creep their way that far out. So we're at the checkout department, and again, it looks like just random clothes pretty much. And for the most part, we've pretty much discovered the store. So we have pretty much discovered what there is at Sears so far. Solomon Pond Mall, Marlborough, Massachusetts. And there is another trip planned, maybe in a month or so. We'll find out. George F551 saying, hope you enjoyed, and have a good one.